What's going on, guys? Chris from AutoAcademics here, and we have finally made it to the next video in our sim racing vlog. And I'm happy to say it works. The answer or the response to the last video, it doesn't work, this one works. I'll explain more in a second. As you guys know, I started this vlog back when the pandemic started, back in March, I guess. I just picked up some new Fanatec hardware for my sim racing, and I figured that it would be a perfect time to start this vlog. Everybody's going to be home, we're going to be stuck at home, not being able to do anything, can't go to work or what have you, so I was making sure that I could fill in ways that AutoAcademics could still do some videos during that time frame while we were all kind of stuck at home. Well, what I didn't realize was that first, and this is the first thing that kind of threw off the timeline and time frame for creating these sim racing videos. The first thing was that, in exact opposite of what I was thinking, car manufacturers actually ramped things up. They actually were ready to send out more cars because that was the one thing they could do safely. They couldn't do any more trips, they couldn't do any more product launches, or at least it was difficult to do them. They had to figure out how to do them. They're doing them virtually now. But, you know, everything was new, so the one thing that they knew that could still keep working was sending out press vehicles. So, instead of me getting less vehicles, as I thought I was going to get, I actually ended up getting more vehicles, and it took up a ton of my time. So that was the first issue. I didn't have as much time to do the sim racing series to begin with. Second issue was, as you guys knew, I had my old rig, which was fine. It was a Playseat Revolution Forza Motorsports rig, and it was fantastic. I had that rig for at least 5 or 6 years, maybe a little more than that. And you know, it was great for my old Fanatec gear, the CSR wheel and pedals and all that stuff, because they were lighter weight, and so it handled them just fine. Problem is, when I stepped up to this new Fanatec gear, it didn't work very well on that rig. This wheelbase is exceptionally heavy, so the single post that it was mounted on, it would just shake and wobble. The pedal deck, now that I've got the load cell pedals, it requires a lot more pressure to engage the brake. That didn't work either. The pedal was flexing, and it just didn't work out. I mean, yeah, was it functional? Yes, it was totally functional, and I used that right up until this point. But now I knew I had to make a change. I knew I had to go and get a different rig, something that was more robust, stronger to handle this this more robust gear that I had just purchased. So I knew that I wanted to go with an 80/20 rig, aluminum profile. That's what this is right here. And they're very sturdy. I mean, yes, it's moving because I have it on wheels. I've got it on caster wheels. But I mean, the rig itself does not move at all. Very sturdy, works fantastic for this. I mean, I feel way more stuff. But before I get all into the details of how it works, you know, just to finish off explaining, I did purchase this from Sim Lab. No, nothing is sponsored, even though I did reach out to some companies and try to see if they'd sponsor me. Nobody wanted to. They were like, dude, you don't do sim racing, so we're not going to send you anything for free. So be it. I'm a regular consumer. I get it, you know. Plus, again, times were hard. They didn't have any issues with selling their gear. Sim racing skyrocketed. It went out the roof, so everybody and their mama was purchasing sim racing gear. Fantastic for the sim companies. Not so good for the consumer, though, because that meant that wait times were exceptionally long. Okay? So, for example, when I purchased my Fanatec gear, that stuff, I purchased it directly from Fanatec, and this was just before the pandemic hit. Just before. It was in February, before it really hit the United States. And it took a week for me to get this stuff. This stuff's coming from Europe. It took me like a week to get this stuff. From the time I ordered it to the time it arrived at my door. No problem at all. Now wait times, I don't even know how long the wait times are for Fanatec. I know for SimLab, you're talking about 4 to 6 week wait is what I had to deal with. Some were getting them a little sooner, some were getting them a little later, but that's what's going on now. The demand is just so high that it is taking forever for people to get their products. I understood that. You know, like everybody else, I was on forums and all kinds of pages and things, and that's just, everybody knows. If you're going to order the product, it's going to take that long. And they say it right on the website. SimLab, they said it right on there, so I'm not faulting them at all. They're a small company that has a ton of demand now. So I placed my order. When did I place it? I placed it June 4th, I think it was. And it arrived about 6 weeks later. I got my rig last week, I think it was. And then, you know, it took me a couple days to put it together. And here we are. That's why I'm just now getting the video out. I guess I could have done some videos in between, but I really wanted the next stage to be when I actually had the rig itself together, ready to go, since I had already talked about the other equipment that I had. So I didn't really, you know, push to try and get any more videos out at that time, but here we are. Rig is set up. I bought the GT1-EVO, and I do have to say it is absolutely fantastic. Let's get into it. You can see the pedal deck down here. It is very sturdy, made out of metal. The rest of the profile of the rig is made out of aluminum. So you've got these uprights here that hold the DD1 wheelbase that I have here. There's absolutely zero flex in the pedals. The wheelbase does not move at all. Yes, it's moving on the wheels, but the actual structure itself, like I said before, does not move at all. So I feel a lot more of the detail of this DD1. People always said, oh, you know, you need a very strong rig because you're going to lose so much of the detail of your DD1. You might as well not even get one and all that stuff. Yeah, I heard all that stuff. But obviously, this stuff all costs money, so that meant I needed to stretch it out. I needed to wait until I was able to budget to actually get some of this stuff. So, you know, I rode it out with the old rig, but I do understand what everybody was talking about. The people that already had made this move to this type of equipment, I get it. And they were correct. It is way more rigid. You do feel way more details. And it just makes for a better experience. Now, obviously, if you don't have the money for it, you don't have to do this. You know, but you know, for those who start going into the higher end stuff and spending more money on it, well, you know, and I mean, my gear before was already decent, so this was the next logical step for me. So, so anyway, yes, much more rigid. I do have the DD1 wheelbase mounts. They are specific for, or DD1, DD2, they're Podium mounts, I think is what they're called. They are specific for the Fanatec wheel sets, wheelbases. They mount on the sides of the wheelbase as opposed to mounting on the bottom like a lot of other standard wheelbase plates do. So again, that just gives you way more structural rigidity as opposed to when you're on a plate and you can get a little bit of flex with that. So I went on ahead and made sure I got that as well. That was extra on top of the Evo 1 chassis that I bought. But worth it. Totally worth it. Alright, from there, moving on. I did pick up the shifter mount as well. As you guys know, I have the 7-speed as well as sequential shifter, and so I picked up the mount for that to mount it to this rig here. Has been fantastic as well. Totally solid. It does not move at all. My other mount was good also. The Playseat one was really good. It did not move either. So, you know, not taking anything away from that at all. Problem is it only worked on that Playseat rig that I had before. This one is made for the Sim Lab product, so you know, I got that. It's, I don't know what it's made of. Some kind of metal, steel, something. Very robust though, very strong. And so, you know, it works well. As you guys can see, I did go with the silver color. The Sim Lab rigs come in either silver or black. I went with silver first because it's cheaper. You know, black was like $100 more or something like that. So that was a big thing because, again, all this stuff's expensive, and so I'm trying to see how I can save money in places. And so, you know, my last rig was black, so I was like, hey, let's switch it up. Let's do something silver, you know. The other thing is I had heard that the silver shows scratches a little bit less than the black does. So I figured, hey, why not? And I believe that was a pretty good choice as well because, man, it's a challenge to put this stuff together. I got some B-roll for you guys. You can see that there it comes in a ton of pieces and bolts and nuts and screws and everything else. And it's up to you to pretty much figure out how to put it together because the instructions are minimal at best. They give you hardly any instructions. It's basically a diagram that has a list of all the parts, so you can at least you can check and see what parts you're supposed to have. And then it gives you a diagram, a picture of what it looks like with some very simple close-up shots of where certain pieces go. That's it. The rest you've got to figure it out on your own. So of course I went to YouTube, I went to websites, did all that kind of stuff, looked at pictures of other people's rigs, and to get an idea as to how it was supposed to go. Nice thing is, once you figure out how the components all go together, meaning how each of the bolts and the angle brackets connect to each of the profile pieces, once you figure that part out, then it's all the same. And honestly, it is pretty easy. People say it's like a grown-up erector set. Very true. So, you know, I probably spent the first half an hour to 45 minutes just kind of getting a feel for it. Then after that, you start getting into a rhythm, and then you can start putting it together. Now, obviously, I've never done anything like this before, so it did take some time. It took a lot of adjusting. And in the adjusting, as you're sliding these profiles back and forth to make sure that they're at a decent position from you, that's when you have the opportunity to scratch your profiles. So again, I'm glad that I went with the silver for that reason. I think the black looks fantastic. And by all means, you know, if you don't mind spending a little extra, go for it. To be honest, I think SimLab is only selling black right now because it is such a high demand product. And so it's just easier for them to focus on one color and get those shipped out right now. So I don't even think they're selling silver anymore. But that's, you know, those are your two options when everything is running normally. All right, next part. On the ground there, I knew that I wanted to be able to move this around. This is my media room in my basement. This is where we watch movies and, you know, have some family time and stuff like that. So it's not a dedicated sim room. It is my gaming room, so I do play lots of video games in here when I have the opportunity to play video games. But that meant that this rig, it's not just here and stay here forever. It needs to be mobile. I need to be able to move it around. So I made sure I got the caster wheels for it, and they worked out great also. They were fairly inexpensive. And when I mean inexpensive, yeah, I don't even remember what it was. I don't even want to guess. But I don't think it was more than $20 or $30, you know. So I did get the caster wheels, put them on, and now the rig can roll around, and you know, which is good also again because this rig is heavy. With all this equipment on it, it gets very heavy. If I had to guess, we're probably looking at 40 or 50 pounds, maybe? I don't know, I could be wrong, but that would be a guess that I have based on the weights of everything together. So the wheels came in very handy for me being able to move everything around. There was one part that was exceptionally difficult with this rig, and that was mounting the seat. Now the seat was a whole other thing. These rigs don't come with a seat, so that means you have to source your own seat. Some people go to junkyards, get cheap ones. Some people buy fancy brand new ones, straight that could work in a race car. I thought that I was going to be able to use the seat from my Playseat. So during this whole time, all these months that had gone by, while I was waiting for this rig, that was my plan. Problem is, I didn't really look into it very well. I just kind of went and figured that that's what I was going to do because I knew that it came apart from the base. So, you know, that was the way I was going with it. Well, my rig came in, I got it all built, I was ready to put the seat on, and then I realized, oh gosh, that pole that goes up the middle where the wheelbase mounts onto, yeah, it's attached to the seat. There was no using that seat anymore. So that meant I had to place another order during the pandemic. Now, mind you, something that I forgot, I actually said that the rig came in last week. I lied. It came in a couple weeks ago because I forgot that the seat came in recently. And I had to wait for that though. I placed that order. It was in New Jersey and it still took like 3 or 4 weeks for the seat to come in. I'm like, are you kidding me? Come on. So, you know, that was another delay with this whole series and getting another video out. So anyway, I did tease some stuff a little bit on Instagram. You know, you guys need to follow AutoAcademics on Instagram because I do tease a lot of behind the scenes stuff, both on the real cars as well as the sim rig. So, you know, definitely check that out and follow me on that. Follow AutoAcademics on that to see what's going on with that stuff. But I got the seat in. I did search around. I would have loved to get a Sparco seat, but they're just very expensive. And again, I had to stop the bleeding somewhere. You know, it's very easy to spend a lot of money in this hobby. And, you know, sometimes you just have to make decisions and say, all right, what's good enough? At first I thought I might do a junkyard seat, but then I was like, nah, you know what? I want to get something nice. And so, you know, there are seats like Sparco, like I mentioned, Bride, oh gosh, there are a couple others that I can't think of off the top of my head right now, that, you know, are actually race seats, race companies. I went with NRG Innovations. They're priced a little bit lower than the other guys, yet there's still high quality materials that could still be used for some racing and stuff like that in real life. They're real seats, but I just wanted to, you know, I wanted to save some money somewhere, and I thought that this was the best blend of efficiency or economical purchases as well as a good purchase that still looked good on the rig as well. So I went with this seat, and then that gets me to the other challenge though of building this rig. The seat was the hardest part. And the reason is because I also got a seat slider from Sim Lab as well. Now it's a Sparco seat slider, but it works with all kinds of seats as long as you have the seat brackets. Fortunately, this seat does come with the upright brackets, the side mount brackets. So that was good. That was something else that I didn't have to buy again later because I hadn't purchased the seat brackets, the seat mounts, because I thought I was using the Playseat, which I figured I don't know, I just thought I was gonna be able to connect it some other way, and to be honest, it probably wouldn't have worked with that way anyway, even if it didn't have the pole in the seat. So everything worked out for the best in the end. It was just a little bit of a headache, you know, figuring all this stuff out. So got the seat, comes with the side rails. The challenge though is you've got to figure out what width to use for your seat. Plus, the seat slider bolts underneath of the seat as well, and that has to be the right width as well. So now you've got your seat braces down there that the seat slider goes on top of. So they have to be adjusted. The seat slider has to be bent in and out and adjusted so that it can mount properly on the rails, which then also needs to be proper for the side mounts of the seat itself. So 3 adjustments that definitely made things challenging, made things a little bit tougher than I expected them to be, and I spent a couple of hours working on this seat, getting it right. Once you get it actually mounted on there, then you've got to get the angle because the seat can mount higher or lower in the front and the rear, which is fine. I'll show you real quick. Seating position. This is what I ended up with. I believe it's more of a GT seating position. I like it. It is reclined a teeny bit back because I had it up more upright and my back was starting to hurt after like 2 laps in a race. So I figured out, you know, had to go back and make some adjustments again. got it angled back a little bit. I think it's perfect now. I mean, it's much more comfortable. Feels great. It's got this cool padding that you can take off, put in, or take out. So, you know, you have some good underleg, under thigh support there, as well as some back padding and padding in the seat that you can remove if you need to. And it's supportive. Now, if you're a big guy, you probably don't want this energy seat. NRG, energy. I don't know how they expect it to be pronounced, but, you know, you don't want this seat if you're a big guy. I like to say it's of average height, but in reality, you know, 5'8", I weigh like 170, you know, so I'm not a huge guy, but this stuff fits really well. I mean, it fits perfect for me. The side bolsters are right there. No, you don't need lateral support unless I eventually do go to a motion rig, which would be nice, but again, that's way more money. We'll talk about that later. I will definitely need some sponsorship for that type of a product. But you know, just for the realism, the support, you know, if you get into some long races, you definitely want a seat that's going to be comfortable and supportive, and so I can definitely say that this is. So, you know, it took a while to get that set up as well. That was definitely probably the biggest headache. I thought that the rig itself was going to be a big headache, but no, it wasn't bad once you actually got going with it. You know, everything started to flow pretty decently. It was tough mounting this wheelbase on here because, again, this thing's heavy. You know, so fortunately I was able to get my wife to help me hold it while I bolted it up and got things adjusted. But, you know, that wasn't too bad. The seat was a challenge. So just so you know, if you decide to mount a seat with the seat slider, I think if you didn't have the seat slider, it would have been much easier. But if you decide to use the seat slider, for me it was challenging. I don't know. Maybe I need to watch a few more videos or, you know, read a couple more articles or something to do it a little bit easier. But I didn't, and so that was my experience. But it was worth it. Worth it in the end. I love being able to adjust my seat now, forward and backwards. Fantastic, you know. Plus, when my kids get in here, if they want to race or what have you, they can easily get in, move the seat forward. We can make a couple little adjustments, and then they can race as well without, you know, too much drama. All right. Last thing. Oh, I want to mention that these caster wheels are also they also lock. So that's another nice feature of these wheels. 2 of them lock, 2 of them are open. So another nice feature. All right, final thing back here. The last thing, once I got my rig together, I was like, oh man, how am I gonna get my Buttkicker installed on here? You guys know from my last video that I use a Buttkicker. I love it. It adds just that extra dimension of realism. You know, just like with the force feedback wheels, you feel what the road is, what the car is doing. You feel the road through the steering wheel. Well, the Buttkicker does the same thing, only you feel it through the seat. So that makes it very immersive. I have one. I was just starting out. You know, I've only had this thing for a number of months now. Whereas some people, they put 4 or more on their rigs. They put one at each corner. So now they can actually feel what each corner of the car is doing. It's crazy. You know, you get your slip angles. You feel when the rear end is starting to slip out, not just in the wheel, but also now in your seat. I don't know if I'll make the move up to that stuff or not, but you know, right now I have the one, and the challenge was, how do I mount it though? There was no place to put it because this particular Buttkicker was made specifically for the Playseat. It's the Buttkicker Gamer 2, and it came with the Playseat adapter. So basically it's a metal or aluminum cylinder, and it's got a long screw that goes down into the center of it, and it's made to screw right into a very specific part under the seat of the Playseat rig. Well, this isn't a Playseat rig, and so it doesn't have that stuff. So I had to figure something out. And after searching around, you know, there are some aftermarket mounts that are made, some third-party mounts that are made, but they are exceptionally expensive for what they are. And that was going to be a last resort. I wasn't trying to go there just yet. So, you know, I just thought about it for a little bit. And then realized that I was able to take one of the little T-nuts, I think they're called, that goes inside of the profile. That's how you attach all this stuff. I was able to take one of those T-nuts, and it was, I don't know how, but it was the right size for the screw that came with the Playseat Buttkicker set. And it was a little too tall, but I just threw a couple washers in there, tightened it all down, and it's been fantastic. And to be honest, it actually works better on this rig than it did on my other rig. I think it's because this rig is more rigid, so that means that I feel everything much easier than I did on the other rig. I used to have to crank it up just below the clipping point on my Playseat rig to get the feeling that I felt like I should have, or that I wanted to have out of the Buttkicker. The problem is when you do that, you're pushing the amp that drives the Buttkicker to its limits. And so, you know, I was just below the clipping point, and when I do a long session, it would start to, it would actually shut down. The amp itself would shut down. It would overheat, I assume. Shut down, I'd have to wait a couple minutes, finish the race usually, then go back, restart it, you know, turn it off, turn it back on again, and then it would connect again. It was something that I lived with, but it wasn't optimal. So, on this rig here, now that I feel much more of the detail through this rig, I don't have to run the amp so high. I run it much lower, and I have not had a single issue with it clipping or even coming close to clipping, nor do I have an issue with it overheating and shutting down anymore. So another win in this scenario. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The only other thing that I added to it, all these companies, they send you stickers when you purchase your rig, and so everybody knows that stickers will net you at least 0.2 of a second per lap faster just because you got stickers on it. So I had to throw stickers on there. Oh, and I think it's 0.2 per lap per sticker. So I threw a couple stickers on here. The NRG ones came on the seat bracket, but I threw, you know, a couple Fanatec ones on there. I threw some SimLab ones on there on each side. So that's 4 stickers. That's about 0.8 of a second, I think, per lap. I should be pretty fast. But anyway, that's pretty much it. That's the rig. I really wanted to share this with you guys, though. You know, I was so excited back in March when I started this series, and I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys are still interested in this. I mean, you know, even though people were buying sim gear like crazy because all the professionals, that was the only way they could race, so it became very popular, and the general population just began to find out about it. I also realized that now that months have gone by, there's a bit of hardware that's on the market now, used, because people bought it and realized that it wasn't really for them, and they sold it. There are also people that were selling their old stuff, like I did, so that they could purchase the new stuff, you know, and help offset some of that cost. And so that's something else that I did as well to help offset some of this cost. The nice thing about some of the nicer equipment is that it can command decent prices. So something to consider if you already have something and you're thinking about upgrading, or if you're looking at getting into this. You know, the used market is good. There's a lot of stuff on there, so definitely search around and see if you can find something. But yeah, I guess that's about it for this episode. You guys can let me know what else you might like to know and what you'd like to see in an upcoming vlog. You know, I do have some ideas of things that I do want to talk with you guys about and share with you. But you know, if you have ideas or things that you're interested in, let me know, and by all means, I will see if I can do a video on it, you know, and cover it for you guys. Hope to maybe answer some more questions, or you know, just help you guys experience this other form of driving. You know, I love driving, and it doesn't matter if it's a real car or a virtual car, you know, simulation. I enjoy it all, and so that's why I do this. And you know, it basically allows me to drive almost 24/7 if that's what I choose to do. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please like it, you know, hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, you know, especially if you do come back to the channel. We've been doing this for a number of years now, and it's a hard grind. It's a hard grind. I'm in it for the long haul, but I can't do it without you guys. You know, I do need everybody's support that's out there, because it does take up time, and you know, it's a job. It is my job, but you know, my job is based on how you guys receive the stuff that that we do here at AutoAcademics. So, you know, if you enjoyed it, like it. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell notification as well, because what that does is it gives you an alert whenever we post a new video. It lets you know. We do kind of keep a schedule, but you know, when I get these vlogs going and exhaust notes videos and all that kind of stuff, they kind of come at random times. So if you hit that bell notification, it will give you a notification, and you know, it's just a little alert that comes up on your phone or what have you, so that you know when we post a video, and then you can go and check it out and see what the latest thing is that we're working with. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram again, because I do post a lot of behind the scenes stuff and teasers and things like that, stuff that we're working on. So check that out as well. All right, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned, because there will be more videos like this coming. So, you know, hang in there, and I hope to be able to show you guys some more stuff that you want to see. I'm Chris from AutoAcademics. Thanks for watching.